The Washington Commanders need offensive line help. Is Arizona's Jordan Morgan an answer in the second round? We'll see. Let's go. Greetings and salutations, and welcome to Ref the District's Player Focus. We're looking towards the draft. Stoner, we're almost there. A lot of focus is on that first round, but Washington, with 6 picks in the top 100, is going to be busy on day 2 if they do not trade up. And so we wanted to look at some of these targets that were at the 36 and 40 pick for the Washington Commanders. They need offensive line help, so we wanted to go with one of the tackles. Arizona's Jordan Morgan should be on the board at 36. Is this going to be the pick for Washington?
Man, that's a really complicated question, I think, because both you and I believe, and a lot of people believe this, that they're going to trade back into the first round and get a more coveted offensive tackle. We all believe this. They've been stacking these draft picks over the last few weeks and really since the middle of the season when Adam Peters wasn't even in charge at that point, but they've started getting a whole bunch of draft picks and getting ready so they have the ammunition to move into the first round. But if they don't, and they sit there and they're ready to go at 36, you have to like what you see, what I see in Jordan Morgan there at offensive tackle out of Arizona. I think just kind of reading your body language, Nathan, I think you might be a little anti-Jordan Morgan. I'm not that guy, so it's going to be a healthy debate here on what Washington should do at 36.
Well, let's dive in a little bit more on our Don't Sleep player focus here. Jordan Morgan, a tackle out of Arizona, potential draft pick. And you don't have to sleep either if you head over to don'tsleepenergy.com. Use the code DISTRICT to get yourself 10% off your entire order. That's DISTRICT at don'tsleepenergy.com. DMV company. You can support a local business and support the channel by using that code. Don't Sleep Energy makes you great. And Jordan Morgan, by all accounts, is very athletic, very excellent at what he does, and has shown promise in the left tackle spot that he had been playing for Arizona, even coming back from an injury to play this year, all of the games, kind of putting in the work here. Stoner, you like the guy, you kind of reading some of the body language for me that maybe I'm not so big on him. And I'll get to my point later because there is a lot to like. So I want you to have a chance to talk about positively, and we'll have some video of the good work that he's done.
Yeah, I like a lot about him. I like his size specifically. I mean, 6'5", about, depends on when you weighed him, 310 to 320. He was 320 listed most of the season. But when he showed up to the combine, he was at about 310, 311. That's, to me, Nathan, that's a commitment. That's a guy who knows what's at stake. That's a guy who is ready to grab this opportunity. That's the kind of guy I like. He said, I know I need to be ready when that time comes. And so that's a huge positive for me. There's plenty of offensive linemen that you'll see that'll come in to those combines overweight because they kind of take it easy in the offseason. I'm going to be a first round or a second round. I'm going to be an instant millionaire. And they sort of coast. Not this guy. This guy came in and he went to the Senior Bowl and he did really excellent work in the Senior Bowl. So I like his size. I like his work ethic. He's got a great motor. There's a lot to like about him, Nathan. And I'm actually surprised. Now we're talking about the 36th draft pick, number 36. That's second round. I'm surprised that you don't like him in that position. Or maybe I'm putting words in your mouth, but at 36, I think that's perfect for him.
I've long stated that the problem with waiting into the second round for a tackle for Washington is going to lead to a problem that you're going to end up more with a right tackle than you're going to end up with a left tackle. Well, the thing with Jordan Morgan, even though, and you're right, athletically gifted, he's got a track and field background. His core strength is really good. He can move in space. The problem is his arm length is too short. So when you're talking about second round, and I'm worried about getting a right tackle, not a left tackle, which is why I'm pro moving up. The problem with Jordan Morgan is when you look at all the scouting reports, every single one of them, I went through 5 just today, looking through them. And one thing kept standing out to me, Stoner, is everyone suggests that he would be better sliding inside to be a guard. And that is a problem. We already had that. Sam Cosmi starts out at right tackle. His arm length and athletic ability said, hey, move him inside. He played well there for Washington at right guard. Maybe Jordan Morgan as your left guard, but that's not what you want right now, especially after you go out in free agency and you spend some money on Allen Grady and shoring up that interior offensive line. Yeah. You need a tackle, and Jordan Morgan might not be a tackle.
Yeah, and you could be right. The arm length is an issue. And that's how guys usually get moved into guard, right? Is because they just don't have that ability to hold guys off who are going wide. They don't have sort of that the length in their arms to do that. And that could be an issue. I get it, especially when you're talking about left tackle. That's the blind side of your quarterback, unless they go out and get Penix, right? That's just saying.
Throwing it out there.
Just throwing it out there. But yeah, I understand that. But what I will say is that if you project him as a tackle and you take him at 36, then you gotta make him be a tackle. And if it doesn't work out at tackle and you move him into guard and he's a 10-year starter at guard, that's a win. It's not, we've talked about it many times. This team is not going to try and win it all next year. They're going to build for it. So if he doesn't work out necessarily at left tackle and you got to move him in to left guard, you still have another year that you can go out and kind of find your left guard that's going to protect Jayden Daniels.
And I think that's going to be a discussion for another time, as far as that's probably why they don't move up, right? Is because this roster is devoid of talent, and keeping at 36 and 40 is going to allow them to kind of position themselves up for getting talent in this draft rather than going up for a guy, because it's going to take moving up to get somebody, of the likes of Marius Mims or Olu Fashanu, these guys, Troy Fontanu. I know that you love that guy out of Washington. Even moving up into the late 20s for like a Tyler Guyton is going to cost Adam Peters quite a few draft moves. Now, we're not going to player focus on this, but I would say that staying pat at 36 and 40, you probably try to take a guy like Kingsley Suamatea out of BYU, has the size, has the athletic ability, is a little bit more raw on as far as it's concerned. Yeah. And Jordan Morgan has a little bit more experience, but I would prefer going the Suamatea route rather than Jordan Morgan. The injuries are also not something to just kind of brush apart, okay? Because not only did he tear his ACL in 2022, but he missed a series of games the previous 2 years. So he does come with some wear and tear on his body that might kind of degrade his athletic ability as he goes on. I think the move inside to the guard is probably more likely for him to kind of ease that, because there's going to be some issues with him with that mobility long term. And also, like I said, the size of the arms. These are things that I think are legit concerns, and why I would actually steer clear of Jordan Morgan at 36.
I don't know. I understand all of these sort of cautionary points that you're bringing up about him. But how many games did he miss in 2023 after his ACL injury?
0.
Goose egg. He didn't miss any games, and he was stronger than ever, and he was better than ever his senior year at Arizona. So you do that, and then he goes to the combine, and he puts up elite numbers, right? He did basically a 5-second 40-yard dash.
His splits were good. He did not do the drills he needed to, though, Stoner. And that to me is also a sign. Like I think there's some worry there. There's some concern, because when you're an offensive lineman, especially a tackle, the drills that matter for you are the 3-cone and the shuttle. And he didn't do those.
Didn't do those, yeah. And
so, yeah, he has the 40-yard dash, which he has, quotation marks here, elite speed on that. And the 10-second split or the 10-yard split and the 20-yard split were good times, but we need to see that shuttle. We need to see that 3-cone. And I think as far as a top 30 visit, he might be asked to do those things, because that's what they want to see. And I think that's where that ACL injury is going to come into play. I think he's a little bit slower there than he wants to show scouts prior to the draft?
I think he has a top 30 visit coming up here with the Commanders. Depending on when you're watching this, it could be coming up or just happened. So that's something that they will definitely learn. And I think his draft stock is even rising. He's getting a lot of love from a bunch of different teams who need an offensive tackle there in the second round. But he's an athlete, right? He is not sort of one of those guys where you say, well, he's an offensive lineman because he's big and he's strong. He is very athletic, which I love about him. So I think just because it's 36, now if you're talking about moving up and trying to get somebody at like 15 to 20, this is not the guy that you're targeting there. But at 36, I think it's the great value. I think he has a very high floor. He has a high ceiling as well, but I think he has a high floor, meaning he's not going to be a bust in any way. He's going to be a guy who's going to be there for a long time and be able to be a sort of a pillar or a cornerstone of that left side, whether it's at guard or tackle. Eventually, we'll see. But he's a guy that I don't think has sort of if you have a bust meter, he's not one of those guys that's going to be anywhere close on the.
He will be serviceable on the line for years to come.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, absolutely. I think it's going to be at a guard position. Is Washington willing to take that risk at 36? Well, we'll have to see. Draft is coming up. We'll be live for that. So you can catch that right here on our YouTube channel. We'll be live for the first round of the draft. And we want to know your opinion on Jordan Morgan. If you like him, make sure you hit that like button for this video. If you're listening to this on audio, make sure you reach out to us at Ref the District on our social media platforms. Of course, leave a rating and review if you're listening to this on audio and give us a comment. Let us know. Is Jordan Morgan the right selection at 36, or do you take somebody else? Are you team move up? We're eager to hear from you, and we're eager to get to the draft. I'm Nathan Perry. That's the Stoner, a part of the Believe Network here on Ref the District, brought to you by Don't Sleep Energy. And until next time,
Team Jordan Morgan right here.
Be a fan.